So one question was in the lines of on the wife beating.
Mhm.
Does Islam give the description what kind of toothbrush you need to use to beat your wife?
No, so you have Muslims who claim this just refers to muswak, right? It's a tooth little thing that you, and
Yeah.
that's all it refers to. When if you actually read the sources, it can't possibly have anything to do with this. But I mean, let me just read what the I think you can just read what the Quran says and know that this is not referring to a toothbrush, let alone if you go to other sources. So let me just read. This is Pickthall. Pickthall says, men are in charge of women. So men are in charge of women, ladies and gentlemen. Surah 4, verse 34 of the Quran. Men are in charge of women because Allah has made the one of them to excel the other. So men excel women, and therefore men are in charge of women. And because they spend of their property for the support of women. So men spend their money on women, and therefore men are in charge of them. So good women are obedient, guarding in secret that which Allah has guarded, referring to their private parts. As for those from whom you fear rebellion, and the most terrifying part of that verse right there should be that. As for those from whom you fear rebellion, it doesn't say those who rebel against you. It says if you simply fear that your wife may rebel against you. That's why you have from Muhammad himself, a man, Muhammad says in the hadith, a man will not be asked as to why he beat his wife, right? Because the woman doesn't have to actually do anything wrong. It just comes down to the man's mental state. If he thinks his wife deserves a beating, if he thinks she's going to get out of line, he can beat her because of that, and that's from Allah. So no one has any right to question a man as to why he's beating his wife. But that goes back to the Quran, because Allah is the one who says, all you have to do is fear that she's going to rebel against you. So as for those from whom you fear rebellion, admonish them and banish them to beds apart and scourge them. Then if they obey you, seek not a way against them. Lo, Allah is ever high, exalted, great. So if you, the common Muslim understanding of this passage is that it's giving a process of escalation. In fact, in the Haleli Khan edition right here, let me read that same passage, but they actually make this an order of escalating penalties. So the Haleli Khan says, as to those women on whose part you see ill conduct. So notice there it's
Nice.
they tried to change it from the fear to not just what you fear, it's you actually see the ill conduct, but notice it's still in the minds of the man, right? You see that she's not behaving correctly. So that's up to you as well. It says, admonish them first, next, refuse to share their beds, and last, beat them. And like the Yusuf Ali, they add lightly, even though that is not in the text. But notice they put it, first you admonish them, next you banish them to a bed apart. So you separate from them as a warning. And then finally, the last straw is that you beat them. And so just think about this. If this really refers to tapping with a toothbrush, then what you're telling me is, so first you warn the woman, I don't like the way you're acting. It makes me think that you're going to rebel against me or something like that. So first, I'm taking this thing to this level, and I'm going to warn you. Don't get out of line. And then she keeps doing whatever she's doing that makes you think she's going to rebel. And so you have to escalate. So, okay, now I'm really, really, really mad. So I'm forcing you to go sleep in the spare bedroom. You're not sleeping in the same room with me. That is to show you how disgusted I am with your behavior. And then if even that doesn't work, then you take it to the final level. And what's the final level? Well, now I'm going to take my toothbrush and I'm going to tap you lightly with it. That doesn't even make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. That wouldn't be any worse than a warning. It certainly wouldn't be worse than, banishing a woman to a separate bed. It doesn't make any sense if that's the final straw. Whereas it does make sense if the final straw is, okay, I warned you, you didn't listen. Then I forced you to a separate bed, you still didn't listen, and now I'm beating you. That actually makes sense. And so you have that. But do you want to look at some of the commentaries and so on? Because when Muslims look at this, they come up with all sorts of excuses that it's a light beating, or I've seen it just means you brush some grass up against her and all kinds of things. But no, under no circumstances does it mean you're actually harming the women. The hadiths and the commentaries say that no, that's exactly what it means. You are beating women, and sometimes very, very brutally and savagely.
Yeah. And I've got Black Angel made a comment that Muhammad said, none of you should flog his wife as he flogs a slave, and then have sexual intercourse with her in the last part of the day. So you don't beat your wife as you would beat a slave, because you will have sex with your wife, and probably in that sex you wouldn't enjoy because your wife is like has a broken bones and she's in pain. That's like, oh.
Yeah,
So
and notice, it's not, hey, don't beat your wife as you beat your slave. It's don't
beat
beat your
them.
wife as you beat your slave and then have sex with her later. So you can
Yeah.
pick. You can beat her less savagely
Yeah.
than you beat your slaves and have sex with her, or you can beat her like you beat a slave, but then just wait till the next day. Wait till the next day, and then you can have sex with her.
One of the most depressing thing on this is there is a two Turkish Muslims are made a video regarding they are justifying why it's okay husband to beat the wife. So apparently it shows husband loves you. So when he beats you, like you get to go to these woman circles in here, like we've got like Bible study groups, so they've got woman circles. You get to hear like they are discussing who is husband beat her badly, like there is kind of competition. If your husband beats you badly, then he loves you more.
Yeah.
And then you get to see these awesome YouTube videos where they are teaching how to use makeup to cover the bruises your husband caused you to have, because it is very feminist religion.
Yeah, there was a video where a man was demonstrating on his son how to beat his wife. Right. I wanted to make a parody of that, but actually include what the Muslim sources actually say. So what that guy was saying, it just refers to sort of grabbing your wife like this and so on. And no, that's not what it says at all. In fact, let me go ahead and read this is the historical background. So this is the historical background of that verse. So we know when Surah 4 verse 34 was revealed. Yep. We know what the question was, and so we know what the verse actually means. This is the tafsir of Al-Wahidi. So he's commenting on men are in charge of women, and it said, Muqatil, this verse, men are in charge of women, was revealed about Sa'id ibn al-Rabi, who was one of the leaders of the helpers, and his wife Habiba bin Zayd, both of whom were from the helpers. It happens Sa'd hit his wife on the face because she rebelled against him. So he hit his wife in the face, right? Hit her right in the face. So he hit her on the face because she rebelled against him. Then her father went with her to see the Prophet, Allah bless him and give him peace. He said to him, I gave him my daughter in marriage, and he slapped her. The Prophet, Allah bless him and give him peace, said, let her have retaliation against her husband. Now notice, right? That would be a kind of women's rights, right? Husband hit his wife, slapped her in the face, so now there's going to be retaliation, meaning that either she, or preferably her father, would get to do the same thing to the man. So now the man has to stand there and get slapped in the face. It's not exactly equal because, this guy's probably bigger and stronger and so on than his wife is. And so it's not the same thing hitting a woman in the face as it is hitting a man in the face. But notice Muhammad was going to grant retaliation. You or your male relatives get to hit this guy back. But watch what happens. As she was leaving with her father to execute retaliation, the Prophet, Allah bless him and give him peace, called them back and said, come back, Gabriel has come to me. And Allah, exalted is he, revealed this verse. The messenger of Allah, Allah bless him and give him peace, said, we wanted something while Allah wanted something else. And that which Allah wants is good. Retaliation was then suspended. Right? So notice, woman comes, look, right here. We've got commentaries on the historical background that says she still had the handprint on her face. Right? So she comes, Muhammad, look what my husband hit me. And Muhammad says, oh, well, go hit him back. That'll solve things, right? Go hit your husband back. And then as they're leaving, Muhammad says, sorry, Gabriel just came to me, the angel Gabriel, the same one who revealed the Quran, and he revealed Surah 4, verse 34. that a man is allowed to beat his wife. A man is allowed to hit his wife. And so retaliation is suspended. And Muhammad says, we wanted one thing, you and me, and you, me, your dad, we wanted one thing, but Allah wants something else. And so notice what that means. We wanted justice. We wanted retaliation. We wanted a scenario where a man will be punished for beating his wife. Allah wants something else. What did Allah want? No punishment for beating your wife. No retaliation for beating your wife. A man is just allowed to beat his wife into submission. So that was what Allah wanted, and according to Muhammad, that was better. And so we have plenty of these commentaries, but we have this over and over and over again in the Muslim sources that's the historical background. So the historical background is